Two American bishops have signed two letters in recent days, and reading them together, they seem to concern two different churches. One comes from Pennsylvania, the other from Texas. There are more than 2,000 kilometers between the two, and two decisions that go in exactly opposite directions. Neither cited the other, and there is no reference to each other in the two texts. Neither violated a rule, and precisely for this reason, the matter is much more serious than it seems. Pennsylvania, August 7th. Pittsburgh Bishop Mark Ekman, 67, signs a letter addressed to the faithful of a parish in Aliquippa, a working-class town north of the city. In the Church of San Tito, Mass using the 1962 Missal has been celebrated uninterruptedly for almost 20 years. It was about to enter its 20th consecutive year, and it won't. The letter announces that the last Mass will be celebrated on September 4th. After that Sunday, there will no longer be a single ancient Mass celebrated under the bishop's direction in the entire diocese. To understand the decision, you need to know how it got there, because that Mass wasn't going ahead out of habit. It was going ahead thanks to specific permission. Ekman's predecessor, Bishop David Zubik, had obtained authorization from the Vatican to continue in 2022. It was a temporary authorization, valid for 2 years. In September 2024, that permit was extended for another 2 years. It would have expired right now, and the new bishop hasn't asked for a third. The reason, he said, was that the permission to celebrate, according to the ancient rite in a parish church, was intended from the beginning as something temporary. And on this point, legally, he is right. Traditionalist Custodes establishes that celebrations are not to be held in parish churches, and permits granted afterward are temporary exemptions. A bishop who doesn't request the renewal of a waiver isn't disobeying anyone, nor is he issuing a ban. He's simply letting a deadline run its course. Ekman was appointed Auxiliary Bishop of Pittsburgh in 2021, and Leo XIV promoted him to Bishop of the Diocese in June 2025. He is the 13th to lead it. In the traditionalist world, the reaction was harsh. The blog Roret Cayley called the text the grotesque letter, and it's been one of the most frequently recurring reactions in recent days. Two ancient masses remain in Pittsburgh, but neither is under the jurisdiction of the diocese. One is celebrated by the Institute of Christ the King Sovereign Priest in the Brighton Heights neighborhood on the other side of the city. The other is celebrated by the Fraternity of St. Pius X in the West End. And here the story gets complicated because that fraternity is at the center of the July 2nd decree. After that decree, the U.S. bishops publicly asked the faithful to stop attending the Society's masses and return to diocesan masses. This was an invitation, not a threat. In Aliquippa, starting September 5th, the diocesan mass to which one could return will no longer exist. Only those two will remain, and neither of them answers to the Bishop of Pittsburgh. Now let's move more than 2,000 kilometers southwest and back just one day. West Texas, Thursday, August 6th, Diocese of San Angelo. It's a huge and sparsely populated diocese, 29 counties in central and western Texas, nestled between El Paso, San Antonio, Austin, Fort Worth, and Lubbock. Distances here are measured in hours by car. Bishop Michael Siss announces that beginning August 30th, Mass using the 1962 Missal will also be celebrated in Midland on the last Sunday of each month. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon in the Chapel of the Holy Family of the Church of Santana. And the opening formula of the announcement deserves to be read in its entirety, word for word. Motivated by the salvation of souls, Bishop Siss announces that the traditional Mass, the Missal of 1962, will be offered beginning Sunday, August 30th. It was released by Father Ryan Rojo, Director of Vocations and Seminarians for the diocese. He added 2 sentences that carry more weight than the announcement itself. The first goes like this: "This is just the beginning, while the diocese discerns a path to provide for our people." A beginning, not an isolated concession. The second is even more concrete. Other priests in the diocese will learn to celebrate that Mass in the coming weeks and months. This isn't a one-off event, it's a plan. The weekly Mass that already existed in San Angelo remains where it is, but from there to Midland is more than 100 miles, and for many families, that was too much. Rojo is open about it. He hopes the new celebration will allow people from the western part of the state and southeastern New Mexico to participate. Now let's put the 2 decisions side by side. The same law, the same country, the same week, and 2 mutually exclusive conclusions. In Pittsburgh, the permit was allowed to expire because it was intended only as temporary. In San Angelo, a new one was opened, motivated by the salvation of souls. Neither is violating Traditionalist custodes, and neither can be accused of disobedience. The document leaves the diocesan bishop some leeway, and these 2 are using it in opposite directions. Those who defend Pittsburgh's stance will argue that a rigorously enforced restrictive rule is more consistent than one applied haphazardly. It's a serious point. Those who defend the Texas law will respond that the law itself expressly speaks of providing for the faithful attached to the ancient rite, and that the Bishop of San Angelo is doing exactly that. Both can cite the same text in support. And that's what makes this story different from all the others we've discussed in recent weeks. Then there's a detail that few have noticed, and which someone pointed out on social media a few hours after the Texas announcement. It concerns geography. The new Midland Mass is celebrated a short distance from a chapel of the Society of St. Pius X, which in turn celebrates a monthly Mass subject to the availability of priests. It's unclear whether it falls on the same weekend, as the times aren't published on the chapel's website, but the coincidence was immediately noted. Because after the decree of July the 2nd, the question facing the American bishops is always the same, and it is not theoretical. Where do the faithful who no longer go to the fraternity go? San Angelo responded by opening a gate a few streets away. Pittsburgh responded by closing its only remaining diocesan gate. 2 opposing strategies faced with the exact same problem, adopted by 2 men with the same rank, the same authority, and the same document open on their desks. So far, Rome hasn't commented on either decision. No word on Pittsburgh, no word on San Angelo, no clarification on who read correctly. And that margin remains there, open, available to every bishop in the world, who in the coming months will find himself faced with the same decision, with the same text in hand. Ultimately, 2 dates remain in this entire story. On August 30th, in Midland, a family will enter a chapel and find a Mass that wasn't there before. On September 4th, in Aliquippa, another family will leave a church they've been attending for 20 years, knowing they'll never return. 5 days later, the same country. What do you think? If you liked the video, comment Amen. God bless you.